Welcome to Recapper. Let's discuss 5th episode of Beef. As episode 5 of Beef begins, Danny has made the decision to seek revenge on Amy, and it appears that his plan involves getting to know George by introducing himself as Zane. Meanwhile, Isaac has been placed under house arrest and is facing further imprisonment for violating the terms of his parole. His friends, Bobby and Michael, are keeping him company when Danny visits Isaac. He instructs his friends to be unwelcoming and then shares his discovery that Amy may not be a self-made woman, having delved into her personal life. Danny suggests to Isaac that they steal George's paintings and sell them at inflated prices. However, Isaac reacts angrily, slapping Danny and blaming him for his current situation. He proposes that they begin working at the church and that he will cash the checks to pay his legal fees, with Danny doing the work. As they renovate the church, Danny, Bobby, and Michael engage in disparaging Isaac, possibly attempting to turn his friends against him. Danny also brags about breaking into Amy's house and urinating in the bathroom. Bobby and Michael appear to be intrigued by the plan, but the trio hasn't yet finalized their strategy. In the following scene, Danny, disguised as Zane, visits George and is invited inside. June recognizes Danny from the incident where he attempted to set fire to Amy's car while she was inside. Danny's plan is revealed when he visits the washroom and points out to George that he hears trickling behind the tiles, insinuating that there may be a plumbing leak. As George prepares to call a plumber, Danny stops him and suggests that they look for plumbers in the area. The plumbers, of course, will be Michael and Bobby. Danny sends them a list of instructions for the charade. George shows Danny the room where he stores his father's artifacts and his own creations. Danny feigns ignorance of the real value of George's father's work and focuses instead on complimenting George's work to flatter him. Despite pretending, Danny demonstrates a perceptive understanding of the emotions evoked by the artwork. George opens up to Danny about his insecurities and wonders if his father died disappointed in him. He also expresses gratitude to Danny for keeping him company since he feels lonely and neglected by Amy. Danny starts to question his plan when George calls him a good person. As a result, Danny cancels the plan and tells Bobby and Michael not to come. However, they show up anyway and try to enter George's house by pretending to be plumbers. George sees through their act and declines to let them in. He repairs the plumbing himself and later reveals that he is having an affair with Mia, whom he invites to an Airbnb where Amy will join them later. He declares his love for her, which may mean the end of his marriage with Amy. Meanwhile, Mia has an uncomfortable conversation with Fumi about a potential job, but Fumi doesn't seem interested. Fumi is having financial problems and was asked to get a loan. She decides to sell some of Haru's pieces at George's house to make ends meet. Amy invites Paul over, and they have sex despite her initial reluctance. Afterward, Paul asks for money to start his own business, but Amy refuses, leading to a heated argument and the end of their affair. Amy breaks down in tears after the incident. Fumi, on the other hand, is feeling lonely and struggling to find human connection as none of her friends are picking up her calls, except for her accountant, Tom. When Naomi calls Amy for help in writing a letter of recommendation for her award nomination, Amy abruptly cuts her off, saying she cannot talk. Naomi becomes increasingly nervous about Amy's behavior towards her, as it appears that Amy suffers from severe social anxiety. This is evidenced by Amy's tendency to isolate herself, such as when Naomi finds her zipped up in a suit cover. Despite her anxiety, Amy contacts the person who uploaded the road rage video, a man named Firas. Naomi is flattered by Firas' praise and feels recognized for her upcoming award nomination from Calabasas magazine. Meanwhile, Fumi enters the house in search of items to steal and plans to sell the Tamago, but she hears robbers entering the house. Bobby and Michael are able to bypass the security system thanks to Fumi's help. Fumi grabs Amy's gun and starts shooting at the robbers, possibly hitting Bobby before losing her balance and falling down the stairs, resulting in severe injuries. That was the recap of 5th episode of Beef. Thank you.